Hey guys, all right, we're almost through the AMI days, and then I promise I'm going to send out some information about how we're going to change it up for once we start learning new skills, okay? But for right now, this is what we're doing. We're on AMI day 9, okay? So this is a review of functions, which we've been talking about all up until we've been out. So it says H of T is the percentage of homes in the United States that have a landline phone in T years. Okay, so H of T is landline phones. And then C of T is the percentage of homes with only a cell phone. Here are the graphs of H and C. Okay, so again, there's the landline, which we said was H of T. All right, and then we have cell phones, which we said was C of T. Now, just quickly reviewing about how to read a function. Remember, this first letter is just the function's name. So H stands for home phone or landline, and C stands for cell phone. And then the variable on the inside is your input or your X value on the graph. Okay, and in this case, we're talking about the years. Okay. So we can see the landline phones are kind of decreasing over the years, and the cell phones are kind of increasing over the years, which makes sense because that's what we know to be true with our own phones. So the first question tells us to estimate H of 2006 and C of 2006 and explain what each value tells us about phones. Okay, so I'm just going to come over here and run my answer. So H of 2006, and we have C of 2006. Okay, so this is where they give us the value of the inside, which we remember is our X value, which in this case we're talking about the years. So it's wanting to know what percentage of home phones there were in 2006. So I'm going to do that by going to my graph. Let me see if I can use my keyboard. Okay, so I'm going to use yellow. Okay, just kidding. Let's see if it works. Let me try that again. All right, so I'm going to use yellow to talk about the home phones. So home phones, again, are the solid line. So I'm going to go to 2006, and it's about right there. Okay, that worked. Okay, and it said to estimate because it's not exactly on a point. So I can see that it's between 80 and 100. So that point right there, halfway would be 90, so it's a little less than 90. So I'm going to say H 2006 is about 85. Okay, and then it says explain what each value tells us about the phones. Okay, so we said it's year 2006, and it's telling us the percentage of homes that have home phones. So we can say in 2006, the percentage of homes with landlines was 85%. Okay, next one we have C of 2006. So this time it is cell phones. Okay, so I'm just going to use the pen. All right, so again, cell phones is this dotted line. So there's 2006. Oh my gosh. Right there. Okay, so it's right below 20, but it's a little above the halfway point. So I'm going to say it's about 17. So again, we have to explain. So just like in the other one, in 2006, having some issues here. In 2006, 17% of homes had cell phones. All right. So that is how you do number 1. Okay. Now let's look at number 2. Okay. It says, what is the approximate solution to C of t equals 20? Okay. So we have C of t equals 20. So unlike these up here where it gives us this number inside of the parentheses, they didn't give us this number. They didn't give us the year. They gave us 20. So whatever it's equal to, they gave us the percentage of this one. So we want to know what the year was when the percentage was 20, but more specifically, it wanted it for C, which is cell phones. Okay, so we have the name, so we know we're going to be looking at the dotted line. We don't know the year, but we know it's going to be when it's 20%. Okay, so I'm going to go up to my graph. I'm going to look at 20%, and I'm going to go until I run into cell phones, which it looks like it's about at that point right there. So what year is that? 2008. Okay, and it says explain what the solution means. It means there were 20% of households with cell phones in 2008. All right, next. It says determine if each equation is true. Be prepared to explain how you know. Okay, it's saying C of 2011 equals H of 2011. So we talked about if you had two functions that were set equal to each other, that means that they are the same thing. And graphically, that would mean that your two lines are intersecting. Okay, so on the graph at 2011, it should mean that my lines are intersecting. So I'm going to go to 2011. There's C, there's H. Oh my gosh, I don't know why it doesn't let me put a dot, but yeah, right there. So are those 2 points intersecting? No, they are not. Okay, and we just kind of explained it as we were talking. All right, next it says 2015, C of 2015 equals H of 2015. So again, that means they're the same. So that means that that's where the two lines intersect. So let's look at 2015. Go up. Are the two lines intersecting? Yes, they are. So is it true? Yes, it is. Okay, last one. It says between 2004 okay, between 2000 what? It's not working. 2004 and 2015, did the percentage of homes with landlines decrease at the same rate at which the percentage of cell phone only homes increased? Okay, so it wants to know if landlines were decreasing at the same rate that cell phones were increasing. Okay, anytime we're talking about the rate, we're talking about the average rate of change, which we know is the slope. Okay, so in order to find the slope, we got to remember the slope formula, which is, I'm going to write it over here, m, which is what slope is m. You have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so in order to do this, we need the 2 points on the graph. Okay, so we're going to have to do this twice. We're going to have to do it once for landlines, and we're going to have to do it once for cell phones. Okay, so we've got to see where those 2 points are. So it gives us 2004 and 2015, which if we're talking about the year, we're talking about the x value. Okay, so one of my coordinates is I already know is going to be 2004 for my x, and it's going to be 2015 for my other X. And it's going to be the same for cell phones. All right, so I'm going to have to find that Y value. So I'm going to have to go back up to my graph. So everything I've got here so far is just what they've told me in the question. Okay, so now I've got to go find my Y values for landlines in 2004 and landlines in 2015. So I'm going to go back up to my graph. I'm going to first erase all of this stuff I've got going on up here. Oops. Okay. Why? Okay, so we've got landlines in 2004 and landlines in 2015 are about right there. Okay, so let's change my color. So it looks like in 2004, it's approximately, it looks like it's almost a little above halfway, which would be 90. So a little above 90 would be about, we'll say 93. Okay, and then in 2015, which is right here where those 2 points intersected, it looks like it's almost exactly at 50. So since those 2 points are intersecting, I can go ahead and write that over here too. So the last thing I need is what the cell phones were in 2004, which is right there. And that looks to be about 5. Okay, so now let's find the slope of these. So again, I'm going to be using this formula. So I'll do it for the first one, have m equals, remember this is my x1 and my y1, this is my x2 and my y2. Okay, so I'm just going to plug all that into my equation. So my y2 is 50 minus 93 over 2015 minus 2004. So I have 50 minus 93 and 2015 minus 2004. All right, so that is going to be negative 43 over 11, which that tells me the slope, but to find the rate, that tells me that it's dropped 43% over 11 years, okay? But if I want the rate, I want to know it for 1 year, okay? So I'm just going to divide those two numbers, and that's going to give me negative 3.91 is my rate of change, okay? So the landlines are decreasing at a rate of about 4 phones per year, 4% per year, not 4 phones. Okay, so now let's do the same thing with cell phones. Okay, so I have m equals 50 minus 5 and 2015 minus 2004. So that's going to be a positive 45 over 11, which again, that tells us that cell phones were increasing at a rate of 45% for 11 years, but we want to know what it is for 1 year. So we're going to just divide those two things out. Okay, so then we're going to get 4.1. All right, so cell phones are increasing at a rate of about 4.1% per year. So it's wanting to know, are they decreasing? Is one decreasing at the same rate the other is increasing? So there's really not a wrong answer here. It all depends on how you justify your answer. So you could say, no, they're not, because they're two different numbers. So they're not going at exactly the same rate. But then you also have to consider we did estimate our y values to begin with. So we may not be exactly accurate. So you could also say, yes, they were in, one was decreasing at the same rate the other was increasing, because they're both very close to 4. Okay, you could say that landlines decrease at about 4% per year, and cell phones increase at about 4% per year. So really it just goes to how you want to justify it. So it's either one of those. Okay, just as long as you explain it really well, I will accept that answer. Okay, again, I hope these are helpful. Again, if you don't understand, just send me an email. Make sure there's a picture attached, and I can try to help you then. All right, thanks, guys. See ya.